few weeks ago, I got called out for a second opinion. The homeowner told me another company had already been there and said the air conditioner needed to be replaced. The unit wasn't even that old. The homeowner was worried they were already preparing themselves for a massive bill, so I started going through my normal diagnostic process. Found a bad capacitor, replaced it, then I checked over the system, including the amperage, was normal. Refrigerant charge, right where it should be. System operation, perfect. Problem wasn't a failed compressor. The problem wasn't a refrigerant leak. The problem wasn't a system that needed to be replaced. The problem was a capacitor. That's it. And standing there, I found myself asking a question I've been asking more and more over the last few years. What has HVAC become? Because this wasn't an isolated incident. I've seen maintenance visits turn into sales appointments. I've seen technicians condemn equipment before they've even finished diagnosing it. Furnaces declared unsafe without homeowners even being showed the clear proof. I've seen replacement become the answer before testing even begins. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized that this isn't really a repair versus replacement conversation. It's a much bigger question than that, because the way we answer repair or replace says a lot about what kind of trade we've become. For me, one of the biggest changes has been the rise of sales technicians. Before anybody gets defensive, let me be clear. I'm not saying every technician is like this. I'm not saying every replacement recommendation is wrong. I found cracked heat exchangers. I've condemned equipment that genuinely felt unsafe. There are a lot of great technicians in this trade. The problem isn't replacement. The problem is when replacement becomes the goal. I've walked into situations where another company condemned a heat exchanger and the homeowner was never shown clear evidence. I've seen technicians go straight for a camera inspection before they've even established a reason to suspect a problem. I've seen companies look for reasons to replace equipment instead of looking for reasons to understand what's actually happening, the why behind it all. And one of the craziest examples I've personally seen involved a furnace that supposedly had dangerous CO readings and needed replacement. The thing is, I've worked on that furnace before. I even replaced the gas valve myself not that long ago. I had documented exactly where the gas pressure was set, and when I came back, the gas pressure had been increased by a different company. The furnace was now producing carbon monoxide readings that could be justified for condemning it. I adjusted the gas pressure back to where it belonged, and the issue disappeared. Of course, doing a thorough inspection to make sure that there were no other issues causing this. That kind of thing sticks with you, because now the question isn't whether somebody made a mistake. The question becomes why. Why are we seeing more of this? Is it greed? Is everyone just trying to maximize profit? Do people not take pride in mastering the trade anymore? Is it lack of mentorship? Is it because technicians are not properly trained? Do people simply do what they're rewarded to do? I don't know. What I do know is something feels different. And if enough people in this trade feel that way, maybe it's worth asking why. One thing I've noticed is a mindset that's becoming more common. It's the mindset of, I learned enough in this trade to make real money. And that's where the learning stops. That's dangerous, because HVAC isn't a trade you master after a few months. It's not a trade you master after a year, or 10 years, or 20 years. The moment you think you've learned enough is usually the moment you stop growing. Heating, ventilation, air conditioning, HVAC. A lot of technicians become comfortable with one piece of that equation and never push themselves beyond it. They stop taking classes. They stop studying. They stop asking questions. They stop challenging themselves. And eventually they convince themselves that they know enough. The best technicians I've ever met seem to have the exact opposite mindset. The more they learn, the more they realize how much they still don't know. That's what keeps this trade moving forward. Now here's where some people are going to disagree with me. That's how they were trained. And maybe that's true. Maybe some technicians are trained to sell before they're trained to diagnose. Maybe they were never shown what good troubleshooting actually looks like. But at some point, every one of us still has a responsibility. We all have a moral compass. If you're condemning equipment, you should be able to prove it. If you're recommending replacement, you should be able to explain why. If something doesn't feel right, you should have the courage to ask questions. And if you're asked to do things that you know are wrong, you should have the courage to walk away. Because protecting your integrity is worth more than any commission check. And that's another reason this matters. The trade needs people. A lot of people. Some of them become incredible technicians. Some of them develop a passion of learning. Some of them become the future mentors of this trade. But some of them are stepping into an environment where diagnosing is becoming secondary to sales, where speed is valued more than understanding, where learning stops the moment paychecks start getting bigger, and that's a problem. Because the future of HVAC depends on what we teach the next generation. A customer told me something recently that really stuck with me. He said tradesmen have changed. Not HVAC technicians specifically, but tradesmen. He said that we're making more money now than ever, Yet, he's amazed at how many people are willing to cut corners just to go home a little bit earlier. Maybe it's a Friday afternoon, maybe it's the last call of the day, maybe it's easier to skip a step, maybe nobody will notice, but customers notice. They notice when people rush. They notice when people don't care. They notice when somebody's more focused on leaving than doing the job right. And that's another uncomfortable question that starts to appear. We're charging customers more than ever, but are we actually giving them more value? Equipment prices have exploded. There are even outgoing lawsuits alleging that major HVAC manufacturers coordinated price increases. Whether those allegations end up being true or false isn't really my point. My point is the customers feel the increase. They see the numbers, they feel the costs. And when they're paying more than ever, they expect more than ever. Better service, better workmanship, better expertise, better value. Are we even delivering that? Because despite everything I've talked about today, I still believe that there are a lot of good technicians out there. Technicians who care, take pride in their work, take their time. Technicians who test instead of guess. Technicians who give customers options instead of ultimatums. Those technicians are out there. I've worked with them. I've learned from them. And unfortunately, the people cutting corners, pushing unnecessary replacements, and putting sales ahead of service are creating a bad reputation for the technicians who are doing the things right. That's one of the biggest reasons I wanted to make this video. Not because I hate HVAC, quite the opposite. I love this trade. This trade changed my life. That's exactly why these things bother me. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is just what the industry has become. Maybe this is the direction it's headed, but I don't think it has to be. I still believe that there is value in learning. I still believe there is value in fixing something when it can be fixed. Most importantly, I still believe that there are a lot of technicians out there who care. This video isn't meant to attack the trade, it's meant to protect it. Just doing my small part, because if nobody talks about these things, they don't get better. My concern is that we're starting to reward the wrong things. And if we keep rewarding the wrong things, we shouldn't be surprised when we get more of them. I'll leave you with the same question that started this video. What has HVAC become? And maybe more importantly, is there still hope to change?